for wholesale, which category should a new seller focus on, since the new seller is gated in most categories? So there's a couple different ways to approach that. I want to answer that question in a couple different ways. So first and foremost, which category? Me personally, I don't think that there's really a category that you should focus on more so than others, right? Obviously, you don't want to go into, gated categories like automotive, for example. That said, for wholesale, obviously, if you're sourcing 10 plus quantity and you're sourcing from a legitimate supplier like, the list in the course, or, even a legitimate supplier that's been vetted on like a wholesale directory or something like that, then in that aspect, you're going to be able to use that invoice to get ungated for that product, assuming it's a legitimate supplier and you order 10 plus quantity of that actual product, right? So it really doesn't matter necessarily which category you go after wholesale wise. Now for other things, I would recommend, just picking and choosing category to category, product to product. Each product's gonna be different. And yes, you're right, you're definitely gonna be gated for a certain amount of things in the beginning. A great way to get, through that is sell a lot of stuff so you can get auto ungated. And a great way to do that is selling a lot of very, very cheap books. So if you haven't checked out the book, module yet, I'd recommend checking that out. You can source books through eFlip or through Zen Arbitrage, but more so I would recommend to get ungated is get a bunch of free books or get a bunch of cheap books, and there's a million ways that I show you how to do that. Not a million, but there's probably like a dozen ways I show you how to do that in that actual module, and then just start selling that as like a side hobby. You might not make much money, if any, right? But you're gonna start ranking your Amazon account to get auto ungated in other things because you're gonna have a lot more sales. It's gonna increase your metrics. Oh, and by the way, it will help you get the buy box in the future at lower prices when you compete against other sellers because you'll have better seller metrics, you'll get more feedback, etc., etc., okay? So that's excuse me, that's what I'd recommend for that. I'd recommend don't worry about it when you're really sourcing wholesale because you'll be able to get ungated, assuming it's not like a gated category like an automotive, for example. On top of that, also focus on, selling a lot of products, and one of the easiest ways that you can get cheap products is books because, like I said, you can get them free a lot of times, and I've showed countless examples in that actual book flipping module to get free books. And on top of that, you can get them very, very cheap even if you decide to pay for them, okay?